Hey folks, Josh here, and it is another weekly vlog. As I've promised, we're getting one per week, at least, for all of 2024. Now, to quickly start off here, you might notice that I sound a little bit different. Perhaps the audio quality might even be a touch better. And the reason for this is that I am a complete idiot. And let's go into a quick story about why. So anyways, as many of you know, I've been podcasting, vlogging, recording content, using my computer microphone for years and years and years. I want to say about like 5 years ago, I invested in this Rode mic, spent a little bit of money. I think it was maybe $200. I don't remember at the time, probably around $200, which was a pretty significant investment for me back then. And I mean, still is, right, for anybody. But anyways, and I'm an idiot because I've been using it incorrectly for the last 5 years. So anyways, I get on a call last week every morning at Visto, right? I'm the CEO of a Canadian immigration tech company. Every morning we have a stand-up call with the Visto team. And I noticed that my co-founder, Alex, he's got a new mic and it's right up in front of his face and he sounds great, right? And I'm like, hey, what'd you do? He's like, oh, I got a new mic. I got a proper mic boom or mic stand, whatever it's called. And he sounds phenomenal. And I'm like, wait a second. Why don't I sound that good? I have a really good mic. He's like, what do you mean? What's your mic? I tell him my mic. He's like, yeah, that's a really good mic. Where is it? I'm like, well, it's sitting over there on my desk, like probably 2 feet away from my mouth, let's say. And he's like, well, Josh, you're an idiot and you're supposed to have like those high quality mics like that right up in front of your mouth, right? Like right next to your face. And that's how they work best, right? Obviously, if you stick it right up into your face, it's going to work a lot better than if it's sitting 2 feet away from you on the desk. So anyways, ordered one of those arms, like you like clamp the arm on the desk and then it attaches to the mic and you can keep the mic close to your mouth. And let's just say it's nice to finally be making use of the mic properly. So anyways, probably all you techie or hardware folks are laughing at me right now, but maybe there's some non-hardware, non-techie folks that can sympathize a little bit with me for basically underutilizing my high-quality mic for about 4 to 5 years. But anyways, as they say, better late than never, right? But anyways, it leads me to think about, I'll do a quick update for the week. I mean, it was a pretty standard week. Things are definitely picking back up now that the kind of holidays are in our rear view mirror. The email volume, the booking volume is slowly starting to pick up, which is great. I think it'll be a good year. But it just makes me think, especially with some other things that have happened or continue to happen throughout my years in business, where you just kind of have to plan for, or not plan for, but get good at rolling with the punches, right? Now, obviously, this was not a big punch, right? I was just using my mic incorrectly, right? Whatever, not the end of the world, right? But there are plenty of other things that can and will go wrong when you're running a business. And probably the better you're at rolling with those punches and taking them and trying to turn them into positives and or just realizing that they're going to be blips, right? Like I can go back over the years because now it's been probably since I started my, career 7, 8 years now, and I've never been employed by somebody since then. And it just never, not that it never gets easy, definitely parts of running business gets easier, right? But I think the better you get at realizing that hard times or bad things will happen, or more specifically as well, I don't know if any of you can relate to this, that when you're trying to, especially when you're at the beginning, and you're trying to get your initial business off the ground or any business off the ground, how nobody really owes you anything, right? Nobody does owe you anything. And in most cases, nobody's going to do you many favors, right? So what do I mean by that? You obviously have, or you might have, some more than others, friends, colleagues, family members, business acquaintances, whatever, who can do you favors and probably will do you favors, right? I've had many people help us in my different businesses over the years, no doubt. But especially for a lot of the big things in business and the ongoing grind, no one's going to wake up and just say, oh, I want to use your product and pay more than full price today for fun. You know what I mean? And I think that's maybe one of the biggest harsh realities that has probably taken me the longest to even accept, right? Which is to build an ongoing business, two things are probably going to be true. Number one, bad things are going to happen, and that's okay, right? That's just life, right? Even beyond business, that's just life. And number two, in business, like many other things in life, unless you get up and go through the motions and actually go through more than just the motions, not much is going to fall into your lap, right? Some stuff does fall into your lap once in a while. I'm more of the belief that you have to take positive action to create your own luck and to create those things falling in your lap. But man, it's like a year over year over year grind of doing everything you can to give your business the best chance of success, right? And if you take your foot off the pedal, then you're probably not going to be around for too much longer, right? Or you certainly can't expect the same type of growth and success that you did previously. So anyways, this was like arguably a little bit more negative of a start to the podcast. I hope it doesn't come off that way, or not the podcast, the vlog. I hope it doesn't come across that way. But if I've just been like doing some more reflection, especially over the last month and like over the holidays, I was reflecting a lot. And I think that one extremely important trait for any business owner is if you can get really good at understanding that bad things are going to happen, right? You might lose big clients. You might have an employee leave. You might have a terrible issue with your product. You might have a competitor do something shady, right? Blah, blah, blah. Whatever, the list goes on. The act itself doesn't really matter, right? The fact that it's going to happen to you at some point, likely on an ongoing basis in different ways, it's going to happen. And the key is, number one, just understanding that it's going to happen. Number two, being able to not let it affect you too much. It will obviously affect you in some ways, but how can you be sort of, how can you let the water just roll off? You know what I mean? Roll with the punch, roll off, do what you need to do, right? Obviously pay mind to what has happened and come up with an action plan and try to act accordingly, right? To get back on track or do whatever you need to do. But not let it affect you mentally, physically too much, because a month or two or three from now, it's probably going to be, you're going to be on to something else, right? There's going to be something else going wrong or whatever. You'll probably have moved on by then, whatever. The other thing too that I've learned is that in most cases, some good comes from bad, right? As they say, when one door closes, another door opens, right? So maybe that big business partnership ended, but that means there's an opportunity for an even better one, right? Or you have more of a budget to hire somebody better or do something better or market something better or who knows what, right? Obviously, it depends on your business. So rule number one, bad things are going to happen. Rule number two, just be ready to handle them as best as you can. And keep in mind, rule number three, that it could very well mean that it's opening an opportunity for something better in the long run, right? In my opinion. And then rule number four, it's all about the grind, right? You got to keep putting in the work. I've been doing it now for 7-8 years, and there's still no, like, very rarely does everything just fall into your lap for weeks and weeks on end, right? So anyways, it's all about the grind. Bad things will happen. You got to roll with it, all that kind of stuff. That's the kind of more hardened mentality that I'm taking into 2024 as well. Let me know what you think, right? If you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment. If you're listening to this on the pod, feel free to respond by, how the heck do you respond if you're listening by podcast? I guess the best way to respond would be to make sure you're on my Substack, where you can comment on my Substack posts, or you can just respond by email, right? So if you're not already, make sure to check the link in the description to follow my Substack. I just send one email per week with an update kind of like this, sharing this vlog, right? Sharing more info on the week, on the stuff I'm reading, on the stuff I'm doing, all that kind of stuff, the content that I'm posting. I've started sharing my best TikTok video of the week, which, I think is kind of interesting, just like a really quick hit business thought or business tip. So anyways, on to reading on that note. I'm probably about 65% of the way through the Starbucks book that I mentioned last week. If you didn't listen to last week's episode, definitely give it a gander. and it's called Onward, and it's basically written by Howard Schultz, who was is he CEO now? I don't remember. I feel like he came back as CEO again because the book basically starts around 2007 when Starbucks is nosediving, and Schultz, who at that time was chairman, decides to come back as CEO to kind of rescue the company. I'm about 60-70% of the way through. It's a really good book, very interesting. I'm still curious to see how it ends. I mean, obviously it ends well because Starbucks is thriving, right? But right now they're still around like 2008, 2009. They're struggling. There's the financial crisis, blah, blah, blah. But it's a really cool behind the scenes look. It's basically like his diary as a CEO and his thinking and what he's doing as he's going through it. So I highly recommend it, but maybe wait for next week. I should be done it by next week, and very much enjoying it so far. So that's it for me this week. I would say less about updates this week and more about just, thoughts on business and all that kind of stuff. Let me know what you think. If you have any feedback, did you like that? Do you like more about me just kind of talking you through my calendar and how my week went? Or do you like the business ramblings and the thoughts and the lessons and all that kind of stuff? So anyways, let me know. If you're watching on YouTube, if you can like, subscribe, all that good stuff, comment really helps us with the channel and the algo, as they say, as the kids say these days, the algorithm. If you're listening on the podcast, please make sure you're subscribed on whichever platform you might be listening on. And if you can give us a review, that really helps as well. As I mentioned, if you're not on already, definitely hop on my Substack. That's where I send out my weekly email. It has all my best stuff, all the best updates, all the news, any emergency announcements, all that kind of stuff I send out on my Substack. So anyways, thanks very much for listening or watching. Hope you're having a great day. Oh, I didn't date this one. This is actually Sunday, January the 21st, 2024. Usually I date it right in the opening scene. I was so excited to talk about how stupid I was about my microphone that I totally missed it. But anyways, thanks again for tuning in. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great week ahead. And I will see you in the next one. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.